Hello, welcome to the Snap UK. We are on the we're running on dregs this week because effectively it's me and Jim. Jim's ill,
getting better,
recovering. I'm just knackered. But
no one else is here.
We're fucking here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Everyone else, you know,
the strongest of the
exactly. Yeah. Some of us
keep going.
Some people are out looking at lights, or you know.
Loads of lights in this room.
Exactly. The tree's lovely.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful... The decorations are gorgeous, so they're missing out. But yeah, so we're here. We're a bit early because obviously it's Christmas, and
We'd have sucked to record this on a Wednesday night, wouldn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
might have got some.
I'd have been fine with it, but we might have got a little bit of trouble elsewhere, which means we're so early that the Packers and Saints haven't played yet.
Oh, we can preview. Well,
so, just want to say, well done the Packers on winning that game.
I was going to say, we can make a prediction either way, and I could choose one way and give it a story as to why the Saints win, and you can give one way as to why the Packers win. But we both know the Packers are going to
win that, yeah.
So what's the point?
Exactly. So nice one, Packers. And because it's New Year next week, and we probably will never cover this game. It'll be lost into infamy for all we care.
It's a pointless game anyway. It doesn't mean anything.
Exactly. Yeah, Saints are lost franchise. Are they at the playoffs? They are at the playoffs.
Yeah.
5-9. I mean, basically after week 3, their season's been over since they.
Absolutely, yeah. That's literally been it, hasn't it? They might have had 1 or 2, 5-9. Yeah, 2 wins after those initial couple of wins, but. They're soon to be 5 and 10.
And, all they need is the end of the season, quite frankly. So, where should we start this week? Because I'm not going to lie, it was another great week. But should we start in Washington?
Oh, yeah, let's start there.
How they won this, I have no idea. Wait, I know what. Daniels is really great, and the Eagles were really, really sloppy.
Yes, I think a big dose of it is the fact that they had Kenny Pickett for most of the game after Jalen Hurts went out with suspected concussion. We think. He seemed to trot off the pitch well enough.
Gave the referee a
thumbs up. I think the referee then insisted he went to have his head checked, which I think fair enough.
Good. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all in favour for that. And then one would presume, because he was going to come back on at one point. I know our text group was like, "Oh, Pickett's in. Oh, Pickett's out. Oh, Pickett's in." Yeah. So presumably he failed that, and on the sidelines, and Pickett comes in, and he's Kenny Pickett. He's a very backup quarterback. 14th and 24, touchdown, interception. You'd kind of hope he would be able to do more with this team than he ever was with the Steelers. But he wasn't.
No.
I did think, even when he came in, they were in the lead for a big chunk of the game and towards the end of the game. I felt like they put a lot of trust in him throwing the ball when you've got Saquon Barkley, who is literally playing lights-out football at the moment.
It's sometimes you just think, just go with what you got. It's one of the things I detest watching the Ravens sometimes is like, especially this year, you've got Derrick Henry, and sometimes they go, we don't really fancy running. We're going to, and you're like, no, just...
I mean, worst case scenario, drain some time off the clock.
Exactly. Yeah, no, and, I mean, as well, if Devonta Smith makes the catch, then do the Commanders get the ball back?
What's maybes, you never know. But fair play to the Commanders. This Commanders team for the last 10 years probably wouldn't come back and win this at all. I think this year it's shown a complete reversal of how you draft a good quarterback with experience who can pass the ball, build a team around him, build a new culture around him. Bring in an experienced head coach who knows how to win games, specialises on one side of the defence, but then hasn't got the ego big enough to say, I'm not going to bring in another experienced head coach as the offensive coordinator, because that's a fear. Klinkle Nuts, Kingsbury, even. Just stuck now.
Yes, Klinkle Nuts.
Yeah. So many years doing it. I think he's proved to be probably assistant coach of the year, maybe.
Brilliant.
And has done a great job putting that offense together.
It's one of he's just built an offense that suits the strengths of his quarterback, and so many other offensive coordinators don't do that. And he's so strong when he's scrambling. That they could not run the ball this week.
No, absolutely.
Even then, he's still not perfect. There were 2 interceptions, I think. Brian Robinson just couldn't stop fumbling the ball.
But yeah, you look at the stats of the actual running backs, and they're not great. Like Jalen Daniels had 81 yards. The team combined had 113 yards.
Yeah, it's not good.
But
they got it done. That's it. And
I also felt this is the Jalen Daniels we saw at the beginning of the season as well. He's had a down patch, and I mean that's fair.
He was injured.
Yeah.
That happens. But I'm not. I was worried about this team going into the playoffs because I was like, oh no, it's been great, but I don't want to see the team that played the Cowboys in the playoffs. But actually, this is if they're like this, it's just gonna be fun.
I don't think you want to play this team.
No,
because you don't really know what you're going to get. I know last week, I think you guys said you wouldn't want to play the Texans in the playoffs. I lumped the Commanders in. I think they're an unknown quantity. And I think the fact that they've gone and beaten the Eagles, all right, it was at home, fair enough. They're probably not going to have a playoff game at home because the Eagles probably still will end up winning the division. Yeah. They're still going to have that unknown factor about them, and that makes them dangerous. I think the defense is good as well. I know it's given up 33 points, but they've got leaders on the defense. Bobby Wagner, ton of experience.
Oh, yeah.
They can shut teams down.
No, I'm kind of excited to see what they can do now because of the teams still in the hunt. They are the most. The Packers, I think, are the best, but the Commanders, I think, might be the most completely berserker of the ones left.
Like the Bengals were when they went to the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
I feel like this is similar to where the Bengals were in that season.
Yeah.
Not saying they'll get there, but I think certainly people will think twice about wanting to play them.
Well, I was talking about it before the podcast. Because it's Christmas week. It's the day before Christmas Eve as we record this. So
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. I fucking hate that. I used to have my colleague, and a week actually going, Merry Christmas Eve. And you're like, I was like, no, that's really funny. And then dying inside. But
the inside of your life there.
Fucking hate it. I don't miss them. But yeah, so what is the one thing these teams want from Santa? For the Commanders, I think I'd like some proper running backs, maybe.
Well, no, I like their running backs. I like Brian Robinson a lot. I was going to say more protection for Jalen Daniels.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, okay. I'll go with that.
Because I even think you look at the receiving core, it's strong. I think Zach Ertz, providing he's going to go for another year, I think that's another strong piece. Like I said, I think the defense is good. I think they'll add pieces to that. But if there's nothing else to do, I don't think there isn't, but protect your quarterback.
Yeah. I think there's examples of how to build a team slowly, so you don't end up. I think, you look at the Texans, who I think possibly were like, oh shit, we didn't expect to be this good this early. Went and got Stephon Diggs, and effectively, I think for a while it has. It sort of detracted from the team, actually. There's too many mouths to feed.
Yeah.
I think that they can build slowly, look at a team like the Lions. Somehow the Lions are an example of building sensibly at the moment. But look at them and, build up pieces. You've got Daniels for a while now. Build around him. What about the Eagles?
I think they need a genuine edge threat.
Yeah.
I don't think they have that. I think their defense is good. I think it's really good. I think if you put a piece like a Nick Bosa or a Myles Garrett onto that edge.
Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Just what they had.
Yeah, the middle of that defensive line, I think, is really strong. I know they're brilliantly reinforcing the backfield in the offseason last year. If you get a genuine edge threat.
Yeah. Oh, they'd be scary.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, where should we go next? Shall we go to the AFC where go back to the beginning of the weekend where the Chiefs are
Chiefs things.
The Chiefs actually, I thought they looked the best they've looked for a while.
To be fair, I think they did.
And they beat the Texans 27-19, which is more than one score. Almost, well, pretty much.
It's not. 8 points. It's one score.
I know. Yeah. I was trying to think of signs to be good, but it's just the Chiefs beat Chiefs.
The Chiefs' defense being really good again. I know that the Texans haven't been the team that they were last season. I think that's fine. I think I think they'll end up in the playoffs, whatever happens, and they can go. Probably won't go very far. They'll rebuild again. I think they've had a good season. I agree. The addition of Stefan Diggs, I know he's injured now, but he definitely seems to have taken away from this core of teams. The Chiefs are just, that defense is just absolutely out of this world.
Yeah.
And I think, the old adage of defense win championships.
Yeah.
I think because previously the offense has been so explosive, the defense tend to have got overlooked. But that is the foundation now for this team, and it almost doesn't matter that Patrick Mahomes just plays ordinarily.
Yeah,
he's this season he's regressed to a good quarterback.
I know, it's bad.
And sometimes an average quarterback. Like if you look at some of his stats compared to other, I saw a stat a couple of weeks ago. Statistically, he was having a worse season than Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
like in terms of number of interceptions thrown to touchdowns. But it doesn't matter because they can score 27 points, which isn't really that many for them.
But
and they'll still get that win.
Yeah, and he did it this week on a poorly ankle.
Fuck off! No, not having it. That ankle's fine. I saw him run for that first touchdown.
That was I was like, yeah, no, he's fine. I think it was, it was his longest touchdown run in the regular season. Just fine. And actually, I like the way they used Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
As if they've suddenly realised, oh wait a minute, he's like McCole Hardman but faster.
Yeah. I think Hollywood Brown's back now as well. Worthy, Brown, Hopkins, Kelsey, Kareem Hunt, Juju Smith-Schuster. Even Noah Gray and Justin Watson can do bits. Yeah. There's a lot of options now.
And it was fun. There was a point where I think the first down, he tries to throw it to I can't remember who it was. Worthy drops it. Next one, he throws it to Hollywood Brown, and there's a miscommunication. Obviously, his first game back really. I think he slows down where Mahomes fits it to him, and third down throws it to Kelsey because why the hell not? It's a hell of a safety valve there. Who is going into the postseason, and I'm sure I'm worried of how little he's been used because it feels like
they're getting fitter.
Yeah,
aside from Patrick Mahomes' dodgy ankle, I don't believe it. Pacheco's back as well.
Yeah. So
now they've got a running back duo of Hunt and Pacheco. Hunt's been playing really well since he got back.
Yeah.
And Pacheco will come back and be that kind of big bulldozer of a running back. I think they had both of those for the whole season, we'd probably be talking about them as we do Montgomery and Gibbs.
Yeah.
It's that type of running back duo.
No, they'll great, you know. Yeah.
There's part of me that wants to see them do it.
Yeah.
Just so we can stop talking about it.
Exactly.
And it would be amazing for them, but they are. I think someone said. I think it was on the Sky News, not Sky News, the Sky commentary. They likened them to the Patriots.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, they're starting to get there in terms of fans are starting to dislike now.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as bad, bizarrely, as last year. I think the Taylor Swift things really, really, and that's dialed down a bit this year.
She was at the game.
Oh, was she?
I know this because my wife showed me a picture of her walking into the stadium.
Well, her Eras tour has finished just in time for the playoffs.
Excellent, good timing.
But yeah, on the other side, C.J. Stroud, 2 touchdowns. One of them at the cost of Tank Dell's knee, which was at one point facing the wrong way as he went down. It looks absolutely awful, and it's amazing that he's had a horrible 12 months. He had a broken leg at the end of last season. He then got shot, and now at one point his knee was an external organ, and it was so bad. Like someone with knee injuries, I'm like, I hear, he's got a knee, he's gone down with a knee. I'm like, oh no. And you look at it like, oh no, that is, yeah. And then of course, the next thing you see is slow down, and you're like, no, I don't want to see that. And as well, for the Texans, for Stroud, that's his best mate.
Yeah.
And he basically, I don't think...
Stroud looked distraught
Yeah.
after that. I don't think a quarterback ever wants to put his receiver in danger. I don't think that's the intention at all. But and I think he'll still feel the level of guilt for that because that's his guy. And I think that's the type of guy that C.J. Stroud is. Yeah. He is a leader of this team.
Definitely.
They're his guys. And he took that one hard.
Yeah. So I hope it doesn't weigh heavy on him because he's a great player.
Yeah.
And I'd like to, they're in the playoffs because the
NFC South is a shit division.
It's so bad. But yeah, they hopefully they can finish strong.
Can we talk about 2 bad teams? Well, one bad team getting better, one team who's probably getting worse. Panthers 36, Cardinals 30.
So your season's on the line, and you lose to the 3-win Panthers, who, admittedly, 6 weeks ago, this is an awful, awful result.
Yeah. This Panthers team is in the matter of weeks have turned themselves around into, all right, if you played like this the whole season, we'd be singing your praises, going, great, you're having a great season. Probably wouldn't be, 14-2 or anything like that.
No. But even if they had the same score, like if it's still 3 and whatever it is, 4 and whatever it is.
Absolutely, yeah.
You just go, even at 4 and 12, like, nah, do you know what? Like we'll get onto the Patriots and stuff. I can see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And at least we can go it now. Oh, actually, do you know what? It's taken Canales. I mean, and that's how bad it is. It's taken Canales 8 weeks to get what looked like the worst quarterback in the league last year into
and the beginning of this year.
Just what the turnaround. Just some of the balls, the pass to Moore was an absolute beaut. The touchdown pass. And he's not weak. Start of the season, the pressure comes, he'd have probably gone down or whatever. He's standing up, he's taking the hits, he's playing beyond a player, like as well, he's not a big guy. I think this is the first NFL game between two quarterbacks under 5'10".
I was literally about to say that myself. Oh, that's a brilliant stat.
But he's playing a player beyond that stature. He looks great. And as well, whatever they've done to the offensive line over there, I want a bit of it. Because there's so many bad teams there. But yeah, it might be the most impressive, sort of positional set on the pitch that last week.
I completely agree. He's been. This is the Alabama Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Suddenly something's clicked. Brilliant. Maybe it was that timeout for Dawson to come in, and he's just going to sit and take a little bit of a timeout. Maybe he needed that. If that's the case, fair play, good coaching.
Yeah.
I think yes, their record's still not amazing. It's they're still they're 4-11 now, but I think if you're Dave Canales, you're sitting a lot more comfortable, even with a crazy owner. Yeah. But I think you're sitting more comfortable now than you were, like I said, 6 weeks ago.
The owner seems less crazy this year as well, less involved.
In that we've not heard from him.
Yeah.
Which is, the best thing for an owner to be, I think.
It's the best thing be for an owner to be is almost you don't know who the owner is. Not in a obtuse.
No, that's how it should be. An owner should be in the background.
Yeah.
I think this is summed up. I don't know if you saw the clip of Trey McBride walking back towards the locker room saying, bunch of useless motherfuckers we just lost to.
I didn't see that.
Absolutely, beyond angry that they'd lost this match. And you can get it. And I also, we've said, his stat lines have been crazy, apart from one thing, which is touchdowns.
It's mad, isn't it?
Which is nuts. The fact that they can't get the ball to him. And I know James Conner's a good red zone threat, but a tight end should be
also
a good red zone threat.
And as well, once it didn't help, they did lose Connor.
Yeah.
And they did seem to lose a step after that, but still, they've got enough players there to get by. And it turns out James Conner wasn't the best running back on the pitch because Chuba Hubbard has, at the same time that Bryce Young has become good and the Lions suddenly turn around, Chuba Hubbard is absolutely on fire.
25 carries, 152 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
It looked like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah, that's a Saquon-esque stat line. Take that what you want. I'm not saying he's as good as Saquon, but he's certainly, again, second half of the season, he has shown up. I think he's made a lot of fancy managers quite happy as well.
Exactly, yeah. In my work league where I've got him, I'm on just shy of 190. So I think I've got Connor and James Taylor.
Nice.
James Taylor?
James Taylor.
So Santa, we forgot to do the Chiefs and the Texans. For Santa for the Panthers.
Panthers, I just think probably some receiver help.
Yeah, I think so. For the Cardinals, a bit of everything. The team's pretty bad.
I'm sure it is. That's where I'm confused because I think this team's pretty good. I think, again...
Defensive help. I think they need more defensive help.
Yeah, I think 6-7 weeks ago, we were probably saying Cardinals looking probably likely to win the division. Yeah. They've had a tough run of it the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. I don't think they're a million miles away.
Nah.
Maybe, I'd like them to get more out of Marvin Harrison.
Yeah. I'd
like them to figure that conundrum up, and whether that's literally him and Kyler Murray on the off season just going away and working for 2-3 weeks together and figuring that
relationship
out.
Yes, it might, because there's, you just look at the guy from college, you're like, this is a game changer.
You look at the amount of receivers that have come out of Ohio State over the last few years; they have been seriously impressive, and he is the one that he's the best.
Yeah.
And at the moment, he's not above Garrett Wilson. He's not above Chris Olave.
No.
He's not above Jackson Smith and Jigba at the moment. I don't think.
No, he's not.
So, he's certainly back there. So, I'd like to see them get more out of him.
Should we talk about a team that is in the playoffs now?
Yep.
The Lions 34, Bears 17. I mean, it was pretty easy for the Lions, wasn't it?
This is standard, straightforward.
Yeah,
it's going to come into your patch. We'll put a load of points on early, and then we'll just sit back and control it. Yeah,
and the stumble play where Goff pretends to stumble.
Yeah.
I do hope that Ben Johnson isn't just giving away the house, because when the playoffs comes, he's going to be out of ideas.
What makes you think there's not more to come?
And that's the thing. I wonder what craziness can come. But apparently, they'd seen that against the Packers the other week when Love tripped, the defense stopped. So they did it. And if it's not throwing, a few weeks ago I was like, just the passes to the offensive lineman, and I was like, come on, guys, take this seriously. The people's lives, livelihoods are on stake here, and they're just the fucking best fun in the league.
They are.
And if he doesn't get a job next year, then hopefully, if he wants it, he might. If it depends what they do, he might think, I'll finish the job here or whatever. But as well, Gibbs is fucking incredible.
Yep.
He's a different type of running back to Montgomery, who's, it's a shame he wasn't there, because I don't quite like a Montgomery revenge game against the Bears.
It is. I mean, the only concern, obviously, going into the next few weeks is how much they do use Jamar Gibbs, because that split of carries between him and Montgomery is what kept them both fresh. And whilst Craig Reynolds is a fine backup, he's very much not.
He's very much a backup, isn't he?
But I'd love to see Ben Johnson take over this Lions team. The Bears team.
Yeah, no,
because I think some of the throws Caleb Williams makes
are really good,
absolutely incredible. I mean, they're top quality throws. He seems to cut out the interceptions in the last few weeks as well. I know that's been a focus point for him. We'll come and talk about Christmas presents for the Bears, but for me, the only thing they need to improve on is the offensive line.
Yeah.
Give him more time in the pocket, and he will carve teams open.
No.
I really believe that. I think they got an unbelievably talented quarterback there.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. I think if they can give him a bit more time, just stop him having to do that. People would take. I think they're taking the piss last week because of that. It looked like he was running around like a Madden character. But he has to, because
he's just running for his life.
The pressure is instant. The fact that I was not sure about him coming into the interview. I was like, but no,
he came with a lot of almost like negative hype, which is crazy, really. Yeah. Because he was a good quarterback in college. All right, he's a bit brash, maybe. I mean, that got people's backs up.
I think that was it, and I think I just let myself get riled by the people getting their backs up about it. I think I like the bloke. I think he's, if they can get the decision right and then help protect him, God, I think what a player they've got.
Bear in mind what Ben Johnson has done with the Lions offense, which I think is incredible. What he could do with the talent on the Bears offense.
Yeah.
I think it makes the NFC North going into next year. If that happens and he is able to improve that offense by 50%, the NFC North is unpredictable.
Oh, so unbelievable.
It's unbelievable that the Detroit Lions are 13-2 and haven't locked up the division yet, because the Vikings are so close behind them.
I know.
They play each other in Week 18, which is going to be incredible. I hope they both win next week, so it sets up what is going to be an incredible match, and that they don't flex it to some stupid time so I can't watch it.
Oh, if they flex it, I'm Monday off. Fuck it. I have to see this. So we'll talk. We'll get Christmas presents for Detroit and Chicago.
Chicago's offensive line help.
Yeah.
For me, Detroit is a magical cure to the injury bug.
Yes. Yeah. It's some sort of lucky elixir.
Yeah.
That they seem to have run out of. So shall we go to the Vikings then? Because they are 13-2. So both of these teams have more wins than the Eagles now. And yeah, the Week 18 game is just getting more and more salivating. The Vikings 27, Seahawks 24, and Sam Darnold only had 13 wins as a whole when he was at the Jets. And there were times of this week he looked fucking great. The touchdown to throw to Jefferson is a brilliant play.
He's always had talent, and he's just never been. He's the old adage of it's as much about where you land as a rookie as it is anything else, and especially for rookie quarterbacks. Yeah. Look at where Josh Allen's landed, and they both came out in the same year, and going into that draft, I think you'd struggle to find anyone apart from Griff who would say Josh Allen was the better prospect than Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I mean, now that's completely reversed based on Josh Allen being in an organisation that took their time, understood that his first year was going to be crap, surrounded him with the right people, the right weapons, and suddenly he's an MVP.
Yeah.
Well, not suddenly, but...
Yeah. I mean...
well, it almost was.
You could argue he could have been MVP before.
Yeah.
Last year, I thought it was... but anyway, as well, you're on about Williams last time being brash. I don't think Darnold is brash. I think he is a more... and being in the Jets environment was just the wrong thing for him.
I mean, just look at what's happened afterwards. I mean, both to him as a player, but also the ongoing strife that is the Jets organisation, which we'll come on to more of that because there's even more.
I mean, the fact that he went to the Jets, left them and went to the Panthers and has survived and is... I mean, I don't know. We don't know what the criteria for Comeback Player of the Year is anymore because we don't know if it's injury.
I don't know, but he should be in there.
But he should be in the discussion.
Should be in the discussion.
Because he's come back from basically having no career. He looked over. He looked over.
He was a career backup at best, and he was a backup of the 49ers last year. Probably did him world of good being a backup and being in that organisation, that system. Going to work with Kevin O'Connell, who organises a very similar system. There's a bit of luck, not the right word, considering it, but a bit of luck in JJ McCarthy being out for the whole season because he was undoubtedly probably going to start.
Yeah.
So he gets a starting job by default. But what he's done since then is brilliant. Okay, yes, again, he's surrounded by talent in Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, a good offensive line and a good offensive coordinator and / head coach. Probably for me, coach of the year, quite frankly, given what he's done. I think he's one of the first coaches to have back-to-back 13 winning game seasons for the Vikings.
He's the first Vikings coach with multiple 13-win seasons. I mean...
That's an organisation that's been around a long time.
Exactly. And they've been good.
Yeah.
Even recently, you know. And I think basically, what he's had is a Baker year, but better. He's better. And you'll be careful because, from the same draft, the Baker-Darnold comparisons and all that. But, I know Griff last week was saying, why aren't they having contract talks? Mate, he's just had the season of his life. I know it would be really good to have it again in another season with O'Connell and having Jefferson and Addison and Aaron Jones as a running back and, this working with a defensive coordinator who
knows how to coordinate defense.
Yeah. But, I don't think he's ever going to get a contract as big as he's going to get this season.
He's got there are a number of quarterback-needy teams.
So many.
And 2 quarterbacks in the draft who you still probably need a bit of convincing over. There's no dead cert. So teams like Giants, Titans, Vegas, Jets, Saints.
Yeah. Basically, if you haven't won 5 games this year, you are the Patriots or looking for a quarterback.
Yeah. Effectively.
Yeah,
he's going to have his pick of the team because he's going to come onto the market. I agree with Griff. I can see why the Vikings should offer him a new contract, but I can also see why they probably are hesitant to, because they've got a rookie quarterback.
Yep. And he's on he's $5 million, $5 million this year.
Yeah.
He is not going to be $5 million next year.
No.
And it would be detrimental to quarterbacks as a whole if he was.
Yeah.
So he needs to go out and find somewhere. But there'll be plenty of places. But just hopefully he gets the right coach.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson's second touchdown.
It was incredible.
It was brilliant. But the commentary was absolutely hilarious because they literally just said that was Sam Darnold's, fuck it, Jefferson's up there somewhere, I'm just going to launch it.
Yeah.
Didn't use those words, but that's effectively what they were saying. It was like, he's there somewhere, launches it, and it found him.
He couldn't have put it any more beautifully, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a moon ball. It was beautiful. So, for the Seahawks, I can't think of anything new to say about them. The defense is good.
Defense is good. I think the running game stuttered all year. Sometimes it's okay, and sometimes it's just dire. Today it was dire.
Yeah, but occasionally you saw Walker occasionally, you're like, oh, God, there's a player there. There is a player there.
There is player.
There's no fucking line.
Yeah.
It's been, 12 years? Yeah.
They got away with it because Russell Wilson was so good. Unfortunately, Geno Smith is a step down.
He's a step down. But, I mean, God, where would they be without him? He's having to play out his skin.
Yeah, but it's not enough.
And it shows that when he's out and, Sam Howell comes in and just gets sacked constantly. I'm a bit of a Geno believer.
But I'm not.
Yeah, but it's depressing to have to watch.
Anyway, in NFC North, because this now gets pretty complicated. To the extent I've had to gone to notes and someone's post to kind of figure out how this actually, how the number 1 seed in the NFC actually still kind of runs. So, excuse me, if the Lions win out, they get in as number 1 seed.
Yep.
Very straightforward. And in fact, if the Lions just beat the Vikings in Week 18, they're going to be number 1 seed.
Cool.
If the Vikings go the Vikings could genuinely be 14-3 and be on the wild card on the road, which is just ridiculous. And the same goes for the Lions. If they beat the 49ers and not the Vikings, they would be 14-3 and on the road.
Oh, that's mad.
The Vikings beat the Lions, the 49ers beat the Lions, and Eagles lose at least once. Minnesota gets in.
Yeah.
And if the Eagles beat the Cowboys and Giants, the Vikings lose to the Packers, and the Lions lose to the 49ers and Vikings, the Eagles are the number 1 seed.
Clear as mud.
Absolutely.
We'll just have to keep an eye on it next week, but
genuinely, we're going to have probably a 14-3 team in the wild card.
Mad.
And the NFC West will be like 9-8. Yeah, we got a home game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is the only good thing is that you get 14-3, you're going to Atlanta. Because maybe, yeah. I mean, the Bucs, that's poor thing. So should we go to where should we go to next? Should we go Ravens? Because that was a Saturday game, wasn't it? 34-17 against the Steelers. Once again, sometimes the Ravens are really impressive. Sometimes they're a bit average. They were really impressive this week.
And this is one of those games where you're expecting them to not be as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like now for the Ravens, every game is a playoff game. Because they want to win the division, so they've got home games going into the playoffs. This is probably the biggest one of them all because the Steelers beat them previously. If they beat them again, it almost guarantees the Steelers the division, and the Ravens go on the road for all the playoffs. Yeah. They showed up. Lamar Jackson was brilliant. Derrick Henry, 162 yards, brilliant. The defense was brilliant. This is the Ravens team that we've been kind of expecting all season just lacking that consistency.
Yeah, and like the Steelers weren't bad as well.
No, they were good as well.
They were good. With 5 minutes left in the third quarter, it was tie, and then the Ravens just pull ahead.
Marlon Humphrey with a pick six, yeah.
And Mark Andrews' first touchdown against the Steelers.
Really?
Yeah, first time he's ever scored it. Yeah. And Derrick Henry, a 44-yard run by Derrick Henry to get them into the red zone after the Steelers turned over on downs because they were playing to keep staying in the game. It's if we got what the Steelers, what the Ravens need. I don't know. Can you be given consistency? That's what they need from Santa.
We gave the Detroit Lions a magic elixir to their injury woes.
We're giving them the concept of consistency. For the Steelers, some pass catchers.
Outside of George Pickens, he wasn't
there
in this game.
Suddenly it's Calvin Austin. And you're like, I quite like Calvin Austin, but he's not an offense, is he?
No. And then they go into Jalen Warren, Van Jefferson, Ben Skowronek.
And Skowronek got injured, I think, this game as well, and he's like wide receiver 4 there.
Yeah, I'd like Pat Freiermuth.
It's been
just step up a little bit more.
Yeah,
because I think he can be in that, at least top 10 tight end. And he's got the talent to be a good tight end.
Yeah.
But you don't talk about him the way you talk about Mark Andrews, certainly not.
No.
You don't talk about him as I do, Trey McBride at least. It's like Cole Kmet at the Bears. You're almost there, just a little bit more.
At least with Cole Kmet as well, this year you can make the argument, there's so many mouths to feed in Chicago. Yeah. That is not what's happening in Pittsburgh. And as well, Darnell Washington, you look at him, he's like, 6'7"?
Yeah.
Built like a truck. Like, occasionally when you see him catch the ball and run through players, it's brilliant.
Do you know, he reminds me of... He reminds me of a player that I build on Madden.
Yeah.
And I can't find a good tight end. It's really pissing me off.
Exactly.
So, I'm going to take some rookie. I'm going to boost all his stats up, make him 6'8" and 220 pounds, and he's going to absolutely dominate the league.
Yeah.
That's Darnell Washington, just without that talent.
They go, last year, he had 7 receptions for 61 yards. And he has 1 touchdown, 192 yards this season. Just love to see them actually use their tight ends. Because remember one year, with Big Ben rather than Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, Jesse James was so mmany touchdowns.
Yeah, and look how much usage Big Ben used to get out of Heath Miller.
Yeah, yeah. No, just, they're there. Just use them, especially when at the moment, Cordell Patterson is catching touchdown passes in 2024. Please, use your tight ends. Where should we go next? Should we stay in the AFC North, but the other end? Should we go the Bengals and the Browns?
The other end. Bengals still got a chance to get into the playoffs.
They do. They do need to win out and hope that one of the Chargers or the Broncos loses out.
So the thing, I wrote this down because, again, note-taking, prepared. They need to win out, like you say. That's against the Broncos and the Steelers. The Chiefs beat the Broncos in Week 18.
Yeah.
Possible. But they also need both the Colts and the Dolphins to lose one of their 2 remaining games.
Yes.
Just one.
Yep, that's fine. That's
14% chance of getting to playoffs. I think that's a bit low if you ask me, because I think all 4 of those things wouldn't be a surprise to happen. The only surprise that would be is actually the Bengals winning out with their defense.
Yeah. Yes.
Because let's face it, they were playing Dorian Thompson-Robinson this week, who a quarterback he is not.
No.
Well, an NFL quarterback he is not.
That's it, yeah. We'll head to Canada, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, I never thought I'd see the day. I was crying out for Jameis Winston this game.
I thought it was getting a bit annoying in the group because I kept going, what the fuck is this guy? You know, Jameis, he'd throw picks, but so was Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and doing it without any of the fun. Yeah. And basically, you just killed Jerry Jeudy for a week.
Yeah, no, he was in one of my fantasy teams. Luckily, I won that game. But yeah, it didn't twig in my head to take him out, and because Dorian Thompson-Robinson was the quarterback. Should have done, and I will next week if this continues. Yeah,
no, it looked appalling. Whereas Burrow was slinging it, no matter what position he was in.
Good. He's so good.
It's such a shame.
That first touchdown gets my sweetest bet of the week because it was brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely incredible.
I'm not sure Gary must have missed the start of red zone. He's like, so T. Higgins has gone on a fast start. So it's nothing to do with T. Higgins. That throw was incredible.
If Mahomes does that, blah, 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 you know. But literally, if Mahomes does that, we're not seeing the end of it. They put it into Madden. Burrow is like, can we share MVP? Because Josh Allen...
Absolutely. I completely agree. I mean, Josh Allen's having a fantastic season. I hope he wins it because he will deserve it. But Burrow's just playing brilliantly.
I know.
Like, what more do you want from a quarterback other than what he's doing?
Yeah.
Right, maybe, do you want him to run a lot? Doesn't matter, because the way he's passing the ball, you don't need people to run. And the way his pass catchers are playing, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Yoshi Vass, even Chase Brown.
Yeah.
Brilliant. One of the passes to Drew Sample as well.
Oh,
incredible.
Not even facing the right way. He's taking the piss, and I fucking love it. I can't... should win records matter for MVP? I can see the argument that, Allen is probably having the better season because his team got 12 wins, whereas Cincinnati have 7. But it doesn't, it's not a team award.
Yeah. Most valuable player.
Where
would the Bengals be right now without Joe Burrow?
Oh, they'd have 2 wins at most. And
even some of those games where they conceded 40 points and it's like 44 to 40.
Yeah.
It would have been 44-3.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's... they'd be wasting Jamar Chase. It was so fun to watch one half of this game because the Bengals were, the defense looked competent this week against Thompson-Robinson. That is the ultimate insult to the Browns.
The Tottenham defense would look competent.
Yeah. Yes.
Against Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Fuck it out.
One stat here for the defense on the other side. Myles Garrett got his sack. He is the first player to have 5 straight seasons with 12 sacks since.
One
of your boys.
Strahan?
Close. Lawrence Taylor.
Wow.
That long ago.
That's esteemed company. Hopefully,
absolutely,
he has less trouble with crack than Taylor did. Was it first person to have 100 sacks under the age of 29.
Yeah, or the youngest person. Yeah.
Just mad. And still,
it's crazy.
3-win season.
I mean, I find it crazy that Browns had these generational players. Who was the tackle they had previously?
Yeah, Thomas.
Yeah, and like Myles Garrett will be another dead cert into Hall of Fame first year eligibility when he retires, because he's just been his whole career has been incredible, and yet incredibly wasted. Like one good playoff run and didn't even make it to a championship game.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely bonkers. And yeah, so what for Santa's stocking? Browns and Bengals. Bengals is defense. A defense would be nice.
A defense would be good. Spend the whole draft pick and some free agency on defense. Ideally, get 2 wide receivers signed up to new contracts as well.
Yes. For the Browns, a chump to take that Watson contract off of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jets would.
I mean,
so what's Deshaun Watson's Madden rating?
I imagine pretty poor. Yeah. So
should we segue that into the Jets?
Into the Jets. Yeah. I was so the Jets 9, Rams 19, showing a lot of these games, like so for instance, Chiefs Texans, Commanders Eagles showed the best side of a lot of the teams, like their ability to whatever. This showed the worst of both. Yeah. The Rams. What was it a few years ago? The Steelers, we used to accuse them of playing down.
Yeah.
The Rams are exactly the same. If it's prime time and the whole world is watching and it's Stafford against Josh Allen, Stafford turns up, they play brilliantly, and this week it was like, it's just the Jets, I'll beat them, and they did, because they're the Jets and they're fucking rubbish. But yeah, it's so annoying to watch. And they are now in NFC West. It's them and the Seahawks. They now have a game on the Seahawks.
Yeah, they've got it under control, I think.
Yeah. For the Jets, did you so? One thing you don't get from Red Zone is sometimes the sort of the way the game ebbs and flows, because you're just seeing the highlights. Mm-hmm. 6 minutes before the half-time, Jets had the ball. The whole 6 final minutes, don't score. So then they kick then second half, ball is kicked to them. They have the ball for 10 minutes to start the second half. Don't score. They had it for 16 minutes.
It's a whole quarter.
That's a whole quarter. They did not score. Just give in.
I'm just looking at Aaron Rodgers' stat line. 28 from 42 pass attempts.
Yeah.
1 touchdown.
Yeah.
And 256 yards, averaging 6.1 yards a play. I mean, it's been said so many times. The guy's done. I think he's mentally done. He's checked out. I even saw a report this week that he urged the ownership to give Robert Saleh and the coaching team more time, which is completely anti what we'd heard previously. And I don't know what to believe. I don't care. And it doesn't matter, because whether it goes one way or another, it's a bad look.
Yeah.
The story, and we joked previously, the story coming out that they didn't trade for Jerry Jeudy because the owner's owner's son said he's got a bad Madden rating.
Yeah.
And it's such a stupid story, and I mean, it's not being refuted, but it's such a stupid story that you just presume it's true.
True, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Because that's what the Jets are now. They're a laughing stock of the league. They're the worst. I think they're the worst run franchise. Oh. Bear in mind, we've got the Browns in this as well.
Yeah.
They're the worst run franchise in the league.
Yeah. I mean,
sell the franchise. Let someone else have a go. It's not fair on the Jets fans.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care. But you look at what a change of ownership can, like, Commanders. Yeah. Commanders, new ownership, a fresh start, a quarterback. But yeah, I mean, that's the problem is now, like, when it comes to ownerships, it's either a consortium, a state, or you're probably talking Bezos or Musk. And that's not going to... Neither of those are going to detract from the craziness, are they?
I mean, I'd probably go for Bezos over Musk.
Yeah. Yeah. But did you watch Enigma, the Aaron Rodgers thing on Netflix?
Do you know what? On your advice, I didn't. Because I'll sit, like John said, I was ill last week. I had a lot of time sat on the couch. What should I watch? And I kind of flicked through it a couple of times. I can't bring myself. I'm miserable enough as it is.
So the first episode, there's 3 episodes, which is there's one too many.
So it's 3 too many, but okay.
Well, that is the thing. The fact that it's called Enigma when the guy hasn't shut up for 2 years is something else. So the first episode is about how he gets. So it's about his draft and how he gets to the Jets, and then his injury and his recovery. Then the second one's an ayahuasca trip, and then the third one seems to be about. So it starts with him going on a hike with RFK Jr.
Yep.
He then misses training camp to go to Egypt because he's now interested in the pyramids. And then it's about his COVID denial. And the whole I couldn't see the point of the third episode. Like the second one, it's interesting to see an ayahuasca trip because it looks exactly the sort of thing I'd hate. Like it's men with guitars singing, and it's all a bit. I'm trying to think of a nice happy clappy, and I didn't like. I like music festivals, but the worst part of any music festival is when you're sat off your tits around your tent, and then some bloke with a guitar comes, "Hey, can I play your song?" And it just seemed to be that for 3 weeks or however long they're out for. Jordan Poyer's out there as well with him.
Oh God!
And they keep calling it the medicine. And you're like, it's not medicine; it's a toxin. You ingest it, and it gives you wild visions because your body's rejecting it, and then you shit and vomit because your body's rejecting it. And yeah, I'm sure it has some valid uses for. I think for sorts of alcoholism and stuff, because Jordan Poyer's a former alcoholic, and that's what he's recovering from. But yeah, it's mad. So yeah, don't watch it.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good synopsis. I feel like I know enough now to certainly not watch it.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to talk about Aaron Rodgers. I hope he retires.
So, what are they hoping for under the tree?
New ownership.
New ownership for the Rams. A line. Still a line. Like Nakua and Cup and I see Higbee score again as well. Yeah. He's come back. Kyron Williams, I think, is a good
running back as well, yeah.
But yeah.
Offensive line. Because, they're going to need it next year if Stafford's staying.
Yeah.
Because, he's never been the most mobile of quarterbacks.
No.
So they need to protect him.
Well, should we go to the Bills? We haven't talked about the Bills yet, but we've sort of hinted around them. So they are 12-3. They didn't make a convincing game against the Patriots.
They certainly didn't win 50-7.
No,
as Griff predicted.
Patriots were frisky.
They were good.
Drake May is the future for them. Really, really good.
Yeah, really like him.
I was looking at the EPA, which is a team stat, and since he's come in, they've gone from basically 29th in EPA to 21st. The rest of the team has not got better in that time. It's Drake May.
Understandably.
They did enough to really frustrate the Bills for the first half, at least.
Do you know what? I think, yes, you're right. This wasn't a classic Bills performance. I think the thing that I'd be most encouraged about if I was a Bills fan was that Josh Allen had a very average day and we still won.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have to do absolutely everything. James Cook had a really good day.
Yeah.
The receivers were fine. The defense, all right. Okay, they're playing against the Patriots team, which isn't great, but they still stepped up and kept them to 21 points, which is on any other day, to Griff's point, the Bills would have won that by 40-odd points.
Yeah. And of their points, I think they did get it was a rubbish touchdown, but from Stevenson fucking up, but it was enough. You win ugly. At this time of the year, it's good to win ugly.
Chiefs have been doing it the whole bloody season.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is fine. I would genuinely be encouraged by that because we've played shit. Our quarterback hasn't lived up to his MVP billing, but we've still won the game. And on to next week. Thank you very much.
Exactly. For the Christmas present, what they're hoping for Santa, for the Bills.
The Bills. I still think they need a bit of help on defense. I don't think they get to the quarterback quite enough. I think something on that offensive line which is really nasty.
Yeah. A bully.
Yeah.
For the Pats, someone to catch the ball. These are really good. I think what they do with the coach in the offseason is going to be interesting because actually some of the things he's been accused, like, when he claimed that they weren't playing hard when they thing. The next week they played really well. They played really well.
Yeah.
And every so often I don't mind a player calling out a coach calling out the players. As long as they react. Yeah. And it was deserved. They played soft.
They were shit. It was after the London game, wasn't it? Yeah, and they were shit. And I don't mind it. So we'll see what happens. I know Alex Van Pelt isn't particularly popular, but to keep changing offensive coordinators If you look at the careers of
Baker, Darnold, pick a shit quarterback.
Pick an average quarterback. I mean, the best you'll get with that sort of scenario is an average quarterback. Yeah. Alex Smith at the 49ers had, I think, the first 5 years, 5 different offensive coordinators. And it wasn't until Jim Harbaugh came in and settled everything down that actually Alex Smith turned into the quarterback we probably know as a good quarterback now. Well, before that, he was on his way out.
He's done the same in the Chargers were always changing, and Justin Herbert still has his doubters. In fact, shall we go to the Chargers?
Good segue.
Chargers 34, Broncos 27.
Because Justin Herbert had the game of his life.
Fucking brilliant. People still doubt him.
Gary.
Yeah, and I don't know why. The same people that loved fucking Philip Rivers look at this bloke and go, yeah, well, he's not. Look, he doesn't win playoff games, does he?
Just for the record, disgrace that Philip Rivers got under Hall of Good last week.
Who would you have picked out there? I mean, I know you had.
I would have picked Michael Vick. Who were the other nominees?
Culpepper, Cam Newton.
See, the reason why I wouldn't have Philip Rivers on the shortlist in the first place, I think he will go to the Hall.
Yeah, I think he will as well.
I think he genuinely will. Anyway.
But yes. Chargers. I mean, this was a tough game. Yeah. Broncos' defense has been really good this season, and they were, what they've done with very little. They gave away Mike Williams and Keenan Allen this offseason. They gave away Austin Eckler.
J.K. Dobbins is injured.
J.K. Dobbins is
done for the season.
Yep. McConkey. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I still think Brian Thomas is better, but which is something from last week. But
probably yeah.
But like what they're doing out of not very much.
This is Jim Harbaugh just wins football games.
Yeah, and I love the glee on his face when he got the free kick.
But it's just that's knowledge of the game, isn't it? Knowing the game inside out, and just being able to impart that knowledge into the team, which is what made the 49ers team so great when he was there. Made Michigan a really good college program, culminating in winning the championship last year, and is making the Chargers into a team which don't charge her up anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
That's not a thing we're saying because they don't. They were behind in this game. They came back, and then you expect them to lose because they miss a field goal or something stupid.
Exactly,
like that. That's not going to happen with a Jim Harbaugh team.
Because we were looking ahead last week. You go, oh, it's their last game is Raiders.
And
you're like,
they're tripped over that usually.
It giving me palpitations of that Staley year where he took the time out.
Yeah.
And the Raiders got offended by that and took the kick. I don't see that happening this year. You know, they are competent. Just fucking
more than that, I'd say. I'd say again.
But they're good. But yeah,
they're good.
The Chargers being competent was the least I hoped for this year, and they're good. They are good.
I loved the hire of Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
I would have loved it for anyone because I think he's a fantastic coach. Yes, he has his quirks and he probably pisses some people off. And if you're not a supporter of him, you probably hate him. I kind of like that for any team that he is in. I used to love it with the 49ers. It's like, yeah, he's our guy.
When the Giants were chopping for a new GM, one of the guys they wanted, I think, was from the Chargers. And they didn't pick him because if they did, he wanted to bring in Jim Harbaugh. And you're like, oh, yeah, no, you did really well there, you fucking idiots. For the Broncos, but it's just not much more to say.
You lost away in a division against a division opponent. You've not played badly. You've come up against a good team. Your quarterback hasn't made that many mistakes. He's not thrown any interceptions. All right, the running game was a little bit average. Just come up against a good team. This is a good match. I don't think if you're the Broncos, you take anything away from that and going, oh my God, we're terrible. I think you just chalk it off as like, all right, we lost that one. Go again next week. I think both these teams have made such significant steps this year.
I think the problem with the loss is it takes them below the Chargers, which puts them in the eyesight of the Bills. Mm-hmm. So rather than playing the Steelers, which isn't once again isn't a nice game anyway, but you are facing the Bills in
the playoffs.
You're in the playoffs. Fucking great.
First time since they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Nah, just the O-line at the Broncos is still just fucking stellar. Just showing how to build a team. I did see Bo Nix is the third least pressured quarterback in the league this year.
Shock horror.
I know. I'm trying to think, what else? How have we not talked about the Colts Titans yet? How do you get 38 points but throw it 11 times? Because you have
Anthony Richardson as your quarterback and you have Jonathan Taylor as your running back.
Yeah. Anthony
Richardson had more carries than he had completed passes.
That does not surprise me. There was a point early in the game when he just was throwing it randomly to no one. And I was like, I think I'll put it in the group. I think this guy's going to get Steichen fired. I still worry that I don't think Steichen gets another year.
I think that's a concern.
But he's just not a quarterback.
Do you know what? I mean, Gary hit the nail on the head last week when he said he's Taysom Hill. And I know why he hit the nail on the head, because I said it the week before. Because he is. And look, we both agree. He's Taysom Hill 2.0.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, he's not a quarterback. 13 games in college, bad passing percentage, completion rate in college already, comes into the league, gets injured, and also has an injury issue in college as well, gets injured in his first season, so he plays, 4 or 5 games last season. This is his first proper season. You look at the amount of game time he's had compared to the amount of game time that Bo Nix has had, Joe Burrow had, Penix had, and Brock Purdy had as well. It makes a huge difference. Learn the game in college and then and then go into the NFL. He's come into the NFL on the back of athletic traits only.
Yeah.
Because no scout watches him and go, my God, this guy's passing ability is incredible. Because it wasn't.
Nah.
He's come in on traits, and that's a huge risk when you're drafting in, what was he, 4th overall?
Yeah. It was ridiculous position to be. Yeah, and I don't think it's over yet because, but I want to, if he's not better by midway through next season, I don't know where you go.
Sorry, I'm writing him. Griff was absolutely spot on last week about Will Levis. It's the same with Anthony Richardson. He is not good enough to play quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
He will be a gadget player. And I think he could have a great career as that gadget player. Like he should be looking at Taysom Hill and going, that's what I should be aiming to be.
Yeah. Find yourself with Peyton over at the thing, and you'll get well paid. For Jonathan Taylor, it was 2 massive touchdowns, 65 to 70 yards.
How tightly he held the ball.
Right? Yes. A nice comeback from probably his most embarrassing week.
Yeah.
And this is the most yards most rushing yards the Titans have allowed since becoming the Titans. The second time in 4 games an opponent has topped 200 yards rushing against the Titans. So, yeah. What's been a pretty stingy defence for all their many faults, it's all going apart. But once again, it isn't all great for the Colts because they were so far up and then they just stopped. And then suddenly the Titans were back in it. Like they find a Westbrook Akine in the end zone. Tajay Spears starts running, and you're like, oh, like have the Colts just not bothered turning up for the second half?
They just stopped.
Yeah. I think the lack of variety in the offense, there's no balance, as Guy would say, is
9 touchdowns for Westbrook Akine, by the way, in the season, off of 25 receptions.
Yeah.
It's good going, isn't it?
Paul was pissing himself. Like, he scores, and Scott Hansen goes, all he does is score touchdowns. And Paul's like, that's not a bad thing. Like, that's a really good thing. And like some of his touchdowns, it's not like he's just a bloke who turns up the end zone. Some of them, he's had to run 80 yards.
I would say quite a lot of them are, actually. Yeah. He's got genuine pace. He seems to be able to create distance from the cornerback. Maybe with a good quarterback, he'd have even more.
Maybe
we're really underselling the fact that he could be the best receiver in football, but we just don't know. He's got a quarterback who's shite.
He is bad. I don't agree that he's worse than Mac Jones though, because Mac Jones is bad. So should we?
I'll disagree. Agree to disagree on that one.
So should we go? So we go to some teams that are still relevant. Quickly, Bucks, Cowboys. Bucks really shitting the bed here.
Yeah, this was a disappointment.
Yeah. I don't know much about this guy. I didn't see this.
I saw the highlights this morning. Do you know what? The Cowboys the last couple of weeks have looked better. I still think. They're mathematically now out of the playoffs. All fine and good there. I don't think that's any great shock given how bad they've been over the year. Cooper Rush, I thought, played really well. It was just, do you know, on both teams, it was just bad tackling. There was a couple of instances. Bucky Irving had a touchdown where the guy had him by the ankles. There was a couple just fundamental problems in the defense, which good offensive players will take advantage of. Players like CeeDee Lamb will create yardage if you don't tackle him properly.
Yeah,
Mike Evans will make those incredible catches because that's what Mike Evans can do.
Yeah,
just bad fundamentals, I think.
Yeah, it was but a bad time to lose your winning streak.
Good,
which leaves them equal. So anything for them? I can't remember if we did it for the other teams, but for Santa, The Cowboys.
New coach
for the Bucks.
I mean, they've had a good year. I think what would just put them up just over the edge.
Can we get Godwin a working knee? Because he's been so injured, and I think actually when he's fit, he's an absolute difference maker.
Do you know what? I agree. I really like what Jalen McMillan's doing this year.
Yeah,
he often pops up on the highlight reels. Often gets his touchdown. I think he's developing into a really, really good player.
Yeah, fair enough. So that leaves them equal with the Falcons, and I think technically Falcons hold the.
Did they have a bye this week? Oh no, they're playing the Giants.
No, yeah, they might as well have. They faced very little opposition. Penix, I mean, it's hard to judge because what the standard of opposition he played was poor, but he looked like he was friskier than Kirk Cousins because 31 other quarterbacks in the league are friskier than Kirk Cousins has been this year.
Off a cliff.
Yeah. I don't know if he came back too early from his injury or whatever, but he was becoming mobile, and but the Giants are hapless.
This was as much about the Giants being bad as it was about the Falcons being good. The Falcons' defense actually was really good.
Yeah,
but again, it's playing against a bad offense. Like Drew Lock was the quarterback this week. For it 39 times, 22 completions isn't bad, and a touchdown, 2 interceptions, and 2 bad interceptions as well. Tyron Tracy didn't have the game we expect, so they couldn't run the ball. They were chasing the game pretty much the whole game. I think you're talking about Christmas presents for the Giants, just for the season to end and move on. I'm a big supporter of Daboll. Up until I guess a couple of weeks ago, I wanted him to stay. I thought he would be good and they would keep him. I find it very difficult to make that argument now, unfortunately.
I was coming in today going, I can't make the argument for Daboll anymore.
No.
It's been anemic on offense, and I'll happily make the excuse about what's his face, Daniel Jones. The first season basically cost them the next 2. But other teams have bad quarterback play. Other teams have, Andrew Thomas is injured. We did bring in some new offensive linemen, and it's taken us from the worst offensive line in football to maybe the 28th worst offensive line in football. I quite like Illuminor. I think he's useful, but he's playing too many positions. Evan Neal, I would quite happily drive to Canada myself. The fact that he's on his 4th year and he shows no sign of progress.
Yeah, that's just
it's been a whiff, absolute whiff of a pick.
Let him walk away.
Let him go. He should go early. Yeah. It's not worth him even being an option.
Even like the former strength for that team, the defense just hasn't been anything near where it was. It should have been better with the addition of Brian Burns, alongside Thibodeau as edge rushers. That should be a really good combination.
I've been really disappointed in Thibodeau.
Yeah,
I thought last year he sort of showed flashes, but it's been nothing this year. And basically, as soon as Sexy Dexy's gone, the team's just disappeared.
Yeah, and I mean that's why you can't. I don't think you can judge anything about Michael Penix Jr. this week because he didn't have a great game. And actually, the offense didn't need to do that much. And Bijan Robinson had a really good game.
Well, I think Bijan Robinson had a really good game. I think because Penix's movement meant that he confused a bad defense more than Kirk Cousins would, because Kirk can't move.
But I think if that's the case, I think bringing in Penix to give Bijan Robinson more space is great because I think Robinson is a genuine talent, which just never got them. They never got anything out of. Yeah,
no, definitely. And the tweet about Penix being a rookie and throwing the ball to Pitts, not realising is one of the all-time great tweets.
That's just another
absolute whiff.
Talent. Well, not even a waste of talent. Just...
Well, it's bizarre because you look at it, if you go 1,000 yards each year, and you're like, but yeah, like somehow he should still be getting more.
Just so
touchdowns.
Unconvincing.
I
don't think he's had a reception the last 2 weeks, and I know that because he's one of my fancy teams, and I left him out.
Yeah, he's on my bench.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was too easy for Penix. I don't know who they've got next week. I'm just looking now. Oh, the Commanders. So that will amp up a bit. But yeah, they Panthers, whereas the Bucs have the Panthers, and then finish with
Saints, wasn't it?
The Saints. Yeah. So that's going to be tight.
The Panthers isn't an easy game anymore.
Panthers is not an easy game anymore. And I don't know if the Commanders have, if they play like they did against the Eagles, great. If they play like they did against the Cowboys, then they'll who knows. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Are there any other games?
49ers, Dolphins, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, Dolphins won.
Yeah, they look fine.
Debo
turned up this week.
Turned up too late.
About 15 weeks too late, really.
Yeah. What would you like under the Christmas tree for 49ers?
Kyle Shanahan to get his mojo back.
Yeah. I think what you need is like a sort of a fountain of youth, because to bring, get Williams, McCaffrey.
Yeah, there needs to be. I think they're now picking. Like if season ended today, they're picking 11th in the draft, and that's good enough to get a good offensive line weapon, for want of a better word. Player is probably the best word. I think that's needed. I think if you look at the talent behind Christian McCaffrey, I think there is talent there. Just keeps getting injured.
Yeah. It was if fifth choice running back as well. You're like
Patrick Taylor Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, Brock Purdy had the most rushing yards, 26 this week.
Yeah.
Ahead of Samuel, who had 25, and Patrick Taylor had 24.
Yeah.
We want the season to end. We want offensive line. I want the injury bug to go away.
Yeah.
I want Shanahan to get his mojo back, to find a couple of gems in the draft, some guy to come out of nowhere and be the next Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Which is entirely possible.
Exactly. For the Dolphins, once again, it's a bit late. Like, they are...
A-Chain was decent this week.
Yeah. But once again, I think they need a line. I think that A-Chan is a player, but he spent too much of this year struggling to get yards. So
as a Christmas present, I guarantee that Tua will never be injured again.
Yeah, exactly.
Because those weeks that they missed him, that's down the difference between probably getting in the playoffs and now being out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
and I win my bet with Paul.
Yeah. So, Raiders, Jags.
Oh, God, yeah, this one.
We forgot about this because it's appalling.
Vegas can't even tank properly.
Yeah, you can't, they've been trying their best to tank, but they forgot about the pedophiles and Mac Jones. Yeah. I mean, this is the best roster the Jags ever had,
So I heard.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, the roster's not bad.
No, the roster isn't bad. And
there are a lot worse rosters. Look at the other side of the football.
Yeah.
This has got talent on it.
There was a point where it came on Red Zone, and I was just like, Paul, I was watching with my brother, and I was like, Paul, thanks for the hospitality, but I can't watch Aidan O'Connell versus Mac Jones. I'm going home. Yeah. We'll just go straight on to Christmas presents for them. What do they need?
Jaguars or Raiders?
Both.
New coaches.
Yeah.
Actually, no, not just new coaches. New front offices.
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
What have the Jaguars done since Trent Baalke has been there?
Sock.
Yeah.
The Saxonville. Was that him?
I'm not sure that was him.
I don't think it was it? So, yeah, no, they're nothing.
I think they hired Urban Meyer and then they hired Trent Baalke. Trent Baalke didn't have anything to do with Urban Meyer, but I'm pretty sure that was the order that went in there. And even then, I mean, you questioned more Urban Meyer than I did at the time, but I certainly questioned Trent Baalke because I don't.
2021, yeah. So he was the interim general manager in 2020. Following David Coldwell. But yeah, it's fucking get rid of him.
Yeah. The Raiders just need Anzi Piss. He's out of his depth.
Yeah.
Sorry, bad hire choice. Start again. Bring someone new in. Someone who's not Deion Sanders, for fuck's sake.
Well, if it,
do you know, it would be funny.
It would be funny.
It'd just be so Raiders, and it wouldn't work.
No, God, I do have this whole neighbours turned up to the game on Sunday wearing a number 2 shirt, and I was like, oh no, he's publicly declaring for Sanders, isn't he?
Yep.
And I was like, I don't want him. I don't want that noise.
I think Cam Ward, who's the other quarterback in the draft, I think there's more potential there. I think he's got the higher floor.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was. I still think we were probably better off with a veteran and someone to
take Sam Darnold for a year.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we'll come on to that later in the season when I'm slightly less depressed.
Trade out the number 1 pick with Vegas, who'd be desperate.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fleece them.
We need multiple picks.
Yeah,
so
fleece them. Take a veteran, and then next year there is a good quarterback coming out. You're in a really good position.
When's Arch coming through?
It could be next year. It could be 2 years' time.
Well, I don't want to suck for another 2 years. I'd like to have my Sundays back where I've enjoyed watching football. I haven't done that in 2 years. Even then, even the playoff year, we were fucking appalling to watch. The last team I enjoyed watching was fucking McAdoo before he went nuts.
That's exactly. This is why I feel so bad for teams like the Jets and the Browns to an extent, where they've just had so many years of just abject failure. At least you can look back on 2 Super Bowl wins.
Yeah,
that's during your fandom. And I can look back. They're hurt, but I can look back across a couple of Super Bowl appearances.
Yeah, even NFC championships are good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. But you look at, like I said, the Jets, the Browns, the
Titans
to an extent,
Vegas,
Raiders. Every week, Chase on our WhatsApp group just seems so miserable.
Yeah.
And he tries to defend them, bless him, and it almost winds me up. Like, why are you defending them?
Yeah.
They're shit. They're making every wrong decision. Be angry.
He was doing it today, and I just had to stop talking because I was like, no, mate, you care more than anyone else.
But on the flip side, it's why I think we're so happy to see the Bills and the Lions do well, because they're another 2 franchises who've never really had, Bills have had success, not same sort of success I've been enjoying the 49ers the last 15 years, in that they've been to Super Bowls, not won. But the Lions have just never had it. Never had success.
Even then, for the Bills to lose the Super Bowls like they did, the 4 in a row.
That's just unfair.
It's so heartbreaking. Literally, there's something, something quite noble in a Super Bowl loss. It's, what it is. It's 2 teams on the day. Probably and whatever. And the Bills to lose that like that, it's absolutely heartbreaking and funny.
I put when we're doing our Hall of Good for the week before the Super Bowl, I want us to nominate Super Bowl teams that didn't win.
Oh yeah, I like that.
And it's got to be like the 94 whatever, not like the Bills. It's got to be a particular year.
A year. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
We are not well. So that's all the games covered. We've probably gone a bit longer than usual, but it's just us 2, so there's no one to stop us. There's no Hall of Good this week because it is just us two.
So Michael Vick has gone into the Hall of Good to make up for last week's debacle.
I mean, we still haven't had Paul on after it to talk about this. We do need to get Nat back now that he's in our Hall of Good.
Paul loves Phil Rivers. He named his dog after Phil Rivers.
He did. He's still upset about that. Sweetest play of the week.
I'm still going to give it to Joe Burrow for that.
It's Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
The one of he could probably have two. The one on his floating, just just above is Sweetest play of the week. The one where he turns and throws to Sample.
Yeah.
Just to, epic. Do we have a sourest play of the week?
The Drew Lock interception, pick 6 to Jesse Bates was a pretty bad pass.
It was a bad pass.
It's what you expect from Drew
Lock. And actually, I do think Jesse Bates is
I think he's a great player.
Great player.
There were some bad
missed tackles. There was some bad, like the Stafford interception was just appalling.
Nothing that really stands out as abject failure. I mean, nothing on the Will Levis scale I can think of.
No. I don't think we... Yeah. And listen, biggest balls... I'm going to give the biggest balls to Ben Johnson again for scheming up a play where his quarterback feigns tripping over... Tripping.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
It's just going to be called the Ben Johnson biggest balls play of the week. But yeah... we'll wish you a Merry Christmas at this point. We'll be at some point next week because I think next Wednesday is New Year's Day. Was it New Year's Eve, New Year's Day?
Well, we got games all right. I mean, there's 2 games Christmas Day. They're the reverse of the games on
Saturday. And they're on Netflix. So
good luck.
We'll see.
Good luck. I mean, it might be fine.
I imagine that since the boxing match, they've been the NFL have been quite. Insistent and they're getting quite a lot of money for this. This can't be a failure.
Well, and to be fair, that'll be more on Netflix because they fuck it up.
Yeah,
the NFL will go no because they're so precious about their product.
Yeah,
they'll be just like no, absolutely not, never again.
Yeah, no. And any games that you fancy?
Denver at Cincinnati, which is on Saturday, in fact.
Saturday, 9:30.
9:30 UK time, so that is well within the midst of staying up to watch that. Dallas at Philadelphia, because I think that should be funny.
Yeah. I'd love to... I know... one of the really good things about the last week in particular, had the Cowboys. They're out the playoffs. They go and beat the Bucs. The Panthers are playing out their skin. The Pats, they're out, but they're taking the game to the Bengals. And I know the Panthers are playing the Bucs. A few weeks, 6 weeks ago, this is a toilet bowl because the Bucs would just thrash them. I want to see the Bucs progress because I don't want to see Atlanta in the playoffs. I'm
not sure Atlanta want to be in the playoffs either.
But I'd like to see how the Panthers continue to. Fuck that. Vikings Panthers. Vikings Packers. I've just realised that game. Sunday at 9:30, I'll have the Vikings Packers. That's an absolute stormer.
That's fair.
But yeah.
Jets at Bills because I just want to see a bloodbath.
Oh, God, yeah. Fucking kill him, Josh.
Yeah.
Anyway, cheers for listening. We'll be back at some point next week to discuss all those games. But yeah, have a good Christmas.
Bye.